Welcome to Wait, What? Hi, I'm Bernadette Bohan, a researcher, educator, author, and creative. This is the place where we are going to break down the stories that make you stop and say, wait, what just happened? Here we research, review, investigate, and unpack the details behind the headlines, court cases, and moments everyone is talking about so you can better understand what's really going on. So today was day 11 of the Kouri Richins trial, and we're going to just do a quick recap focusing on digital forensics and what the jury heard in court today. So today's testimony focused on something that's becoming more and more important in criminal investigations: digital forensic evidence from smartphones. The jury heard from a digital forensics expert who explained how investigators analyze activity from an iPhone. Now, if you've ever wondered how investigators can piece together what someone was doing on their phone, sometimes months or even years later, today's testimony was essentially a masterclass in how that works. The expert explained that smartphones record a surprising amount of information, and this can include things like search activity, website visits, images accessed on the phone, call logs, and communication records. So when investigators obtain a phone as evidence, they perform what's called a forensic extraction. So this process creates a complete copy of the device's data, allowing analysts to examine the activity in detail without altering the original phone. And one key point the jury heard today was this: that not all phone activity means what it appears to mean at first glance. For example, the expert explained the difference between a type search and simply visiting a website. In digital records, these actions can sometimes look similar, but they actually represent different types of activity. A type search indicates that someone actively entered a question or a phrase into a search engine, and a site visit, on the other hand, simply shows that a web page was opened. That could have been opened from a link, a bookmark, or even a search result someone clicked. And the distinction can matter a lot when investigators are trying to reconstruct what someone was doing online at a specific moment in time. Another topic discussed in court today involved how data on phones can be overwritten over time. The expert described something referred to as the digital trash can. So when information is deleted from a phone, it doesn't always disappear immediately. Instead, that data may still exist on the device and in its memory until it eventually gets replaced with new information. Depending on how much time has passed and how much the phone has been used, investigators may sometimes recover pieces of that deleted data. But once the space has been overwritten with new information, that data can be really difficult or even impossible to recover. The jury also heard testimony about something called call detail records, or CDRs. These are records provided by phone carriers that show information about calls and text communications, things like timestamps, call duration, and the phone numbers involved. Importantly, these records usually do not include the content of conversations or messages, but they can still help investigators build a timeline of communication. And when investigators combine those carrier records with data extracted directly from a phone, they can start piecing together a much clearer picture of someone's activity. So, why does all this matter in this case? Well, because the prosecution is attempting to reconstruct phone activity and digital timelines connected to the death of Eric Richins. By analyzing these searches, communications, and device activity, investigators are trying to determine what may have been happening on the phone during key time periods. The digital evidence has become a major component of modern trials, and today's testimony really highlighted just how complex that analysis can be. And honestly, hearing this kind of testimony often leads to one big realization: our phones record far more information than most people even realize. Even simple everyday actions like opening an image, visiting a web page, or making a quick call can leave behind digital traces that investigator may later analyze. Of course, in any criminal case, the jury will evaluate all of the evidence presented by both sides, and all allegations remain allegations until proven in court. But today's testimony gave jurors a deeper look into how digital forensic investigators analyze smartphones and how those findings can help establish timelines and patterns of activity. And if nothing else, today's testimony was a reminder that our digital lives can sometimes tell a very detailed story. So that's today's quick recap from the Kouri Richins trial. I'll continue posting updates as the trial unfolds so you can stay caught up on what's happening in court. And as always, please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Wait, what? I'll see you in the next update.